So, has podcasting become the new hustle even more than rap? I'll tell you what I mean by this. So, Bloomberg.com recently reported that the podcast industry generated $7.3 billion in 2024, while Patreon paid out $433 million to podcasters that year as well. It was also estimated that 2/3 of the revenue was generated in the United States. This is per Bloomberg.com. So we always talk about rap or, podcasting and the concept of the ability to, or the possibility of oversaturation, right? So is this amount of money a good thing for the podcast culture or content space? Why or why not?
Money-wise, yeah. Money-wise, yeah. It is absolutely good for the podcast culture.
On the money side, right?
On the money side. But see, the flip side of that is podcasting is something that everybody thinks they can do because everybody talks.
There we go.
But there's more to it than just talking. They look at it as, well, I know I can't rap, I can't sing, I can't do that, but I definitely know how to have a conversation. But you don't know how to be consistent and have conversations. This isn't just you show up and you have a conversation and then you put it out. Granted, some people do, but there's a science behind actually being able to pod. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's not just showing up and talking all the time. Now, granted, there are people that sneak in and are able to do their thing with podcasting without having a whole lot of knowledge about it, just by doing it essentially.
Right.
But that's not the norm. Like, everybody's not going to get that. I mean, we can attest to that. We've been doing this for a long time, and I consider us actual professional podcasters. But
true,
that doesn't show as far as monetization is concerned. So with them talking about the money wise, yeah, that I love that. But it comes down to the whole point of everybody saying that they need to stop selling podcast mics and equipment to everybody because everybody can't do it.
Well, I would say this about, the proliferation of people trying to get into podcasting, the amount of podcasts that are out there. If you're just, when you talk about the money, yes, that could be encouraging or whatever. But the thing is, most of that money is going to people who are already famous, who are starting podcasts. Whether it be former professional athletes, Michelle Obama and her brother have a podcast.
Yeah.
You're getting people who are having to supplement, actors.
Yeah.
And musicians have their own podcast to supplement the fact that, like, there's no money. I'm not going to say there's no money in music, but the music and money has dwindled, so they have to find different avenues. Actors and comedians, it's the same thing. So if you're already famous, there is a space for you to make money here. The four of us, mind you, we've been doing it for a while. We've built up a base, and we do have some hardcore fans, which we are very appreciative of.
Shout out to all our day ones, for real.
Shout out to,
and day 20 and year 7.
Yeah,
all of
them. Shout out my best.
Well said, Lone.
Shout out my best friend Kevin, who went out and bought a couple of mugs.
Oh, and the hoodies are coming. I had to change the supplier.
Okay.
For that, but yeah.
Yeah. So we have those people who support us, but like, if you're going to start a podcast, and I don't want to discourage anybody, in 2025, and you're not already famous or you don't have some incredible hook to it, it's going to be a hard road to toe to get anywhere near all that $7 or billion dollars. Because a lot of that is slotted for people who are already famous.
What you think, Lon? Just in terms of the article and the numbers and the effect.
I don't know. I don't.
Pretty much covered it.
I don't know. What do I think about money being in podcasting? I don't know.
I guess my thing is I think Terry kind of alluded to the pro side of it, because we all want to make money from it, right? That's just, it goes without saying. But the other side is, I guess, if you see an article like this, it doesn't
do anything for me.
Oh, just overall it doesn't?
No, this article does absolutely nothing for me.
I got you.
No.
That's fair.
But I've been in the trenches with this for a long time. So it's like...
You have.
We pay attention to this stuff. You know what I mean? So the fact that there's more money coming in the space... when I think of podcasting, I'm thinking about how do we get more eyes on the stuff that we're doing? How do we become a better show? What do we have to do as individuals and as a collective to reach more people and to get more people to come in? I don't look at it from from a monetization money standpoint, because if we're doing the things that we need to be doing, then that will come because people will find us because we're reaching what we need to.
Let me ask you this. So, first of all, I understand what you're saying on that part. Do you ever look at it since we've been in for a long time. You've done analytics before we even start this. So, do you ever look at it from a standpoint of the ecosystem of podcasting being flooded?
Doesn't affect us.
That's what I'm asking. Like, does that really matter?
No.
Okay, so is that just pretty much overthinking or overthinking about it?
In the same way, okay, a brand will come out and they'll have money allocated for something, and they're going to go and they're going to find who. Look, Joe and Jada just started a brand new podcast.
Yeah. Which is more of the same to me.
You could make the argument that they're infringing on our space, but I say they're not. We have our own space, and it's our responsibility to capture the people that want to check out the stuff. It's our job. Joe and Jada are two big hip hop entities as individuals.
Right.
That collectively came together. We are not in that space.
That's fair.
And so it's like, it's not our space until we become individuals that are heavy like that in that particular type of way. We are a collective. And there aren't a lot of people that do this in the capacity that Dead Hip Hop kind of does to some degree.
Yeah.
There are other, you could even say Cultural United that Company Man does, but he pulls people that are individuals that
are all
high,
individuals first. Yeah.
We're approaching this from a different angle, and we're going to have to reverse engineer that a little bit, I think. But
that's fair.
But I don't look at any of these people as our competitors. I look at them as potentially our collaborators. And I think that's how we have to look at it. They're going to me, Joe and Jada coming into this space, they're going to do what they do. Joe Budden's going to do what he does. We're going to do what we do. It doesn't really matter. Like what they do does not affect us.
Right.
So it's more about maximizing what you do, the potential for what you do.
We need to maximize what we're doing as a podcast. Right. We need to be on top of our stuff so that, like, if we want a piece of, it's all hypothetical. If we want a part of the $7.3 billion from advertising from people that are putting money into it, then we need to be looked at in that realm.
Fair enough.
And if we're not doing the things to be looked at in that realm, then they're not going to look at us. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if Joe and Jada are here. They're going to put, instead of $4.7 billion into one person, they're going to put $5.2 billion into one person.
Right.
It's not going to be allocated more towards us. It just depends on what we are doing. And so, and that's across the board. It's the same way with music. It's the same thing with like everything. It's just like, there's money out there to get, but stuff like this doesn't really bother me, or I don't really even look at it more than one way, to be honest with you, because I don't look at it as competition. I just kind of look at it like, okay, there's somebody else in here going to do something for a little while. They'll do 35 episodes and
ride off into the sunset.
Or maybe they'll do another season or something, and that's cool. That's cool. I think there's space for it. There's plenty of space for everything. But yeah, it's we all have our individual groupings as podcasts or as creators. We all have our path that we need to roll depending on who we are when we come into it.
Right.
And we need to understand that. We all need to understand. And then we need to attack that. If, we have to, there's just a bazillion stuff, the amount of stuff that we know collectively about the podcasting space, because we've been doing this for 8.5 years, which is crazy.
It is
way more than somebody, to Terry's point, that is just coming into the space. Like when we just came into the space, the entire social media landscape was completely different than what it is right now. TikTok wasn't a thing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
At all.
People were Snapchatting still. I mean, their Snapchat might still be a thing. I don't know.
But it's just like
it's not like
it's constantly changing. There's a lot that goes into it. If you are going to go into it as just a regular person, a normal person with a unique perspective that is valuable, there's just it's so much is dependent on how people view you as the expert in your field, or how people view you specifically in the thing that you're doing. Like, what type of value are you bringing to me? And that's even becoming more and more important the further that we go on into this, because the space is becoming more crowded. Just like music,
that's what I was kind of alluding to.
You have to be better at the thing that you're doing, and you have to put in the right amount of work in the right way. I don't know.
exactly why I wanted to ask. Because when I saw the numbers, I was like, oh my God. But two things came to my mind. One was, damn, that's a lot of money. Two, there's a lot of money out there to get. You know what I'm saying? So,
But there always has been.
it always has been.
It always has been.
But when you see it, like when you actually see it and you read $433 million allotted to Patreon in the United States, a lot of bread.
And I think also too, me, like, I've been aware of these numbers for months.
Yeah.
I consume the type of content to where, like, I watch podcasts with the creator of Patreon.
True.
You know, like, so I'm paying attention to what the new platforms are doing on a regular basis. So I'm like, okay, they're changing this, so we have to be ahead of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I do just inherently because of all the stuff behind the scenes that I do. Like, I have to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, I share as much as I can with you guys in Discord and stuff like that. But it's
Yeah.
like, it's a lot of stuff. It's just a lot of information and it's constantly changing. And it's just, you know, but you know, we've had sponsors in the past. We have
sponsors
partners
now.
We have partners now.
Got 'em now.
You know what I mean? And it's like, it's great to have, but I think if we were more vigilant about having brand partners and all that stuff, I think we could have more on a regular basis.
Mhm.
You know, but it's just, you know, it's just a lot of work. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at
Podcast
that.
space is wide open too.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's wide open, but
Good point. Very
it's,
good point.
it's so wide open. But you know, I literally spoke with someone who was looking to do a podcast. They did about 5 episodes, and they were frustrated because you know they thought Coca-Cola and Cadillac and you know they're like, well, where's the money?
Where are they?
yeah, well, that's
Like,
always the
whoa,
measure.
whoa. You know, if you were getting into it for that, so surprise, it's not how it works.
Yeah, I don't know who said it, but it's just like anything, man. You have to do the thing because you enjoy it.
Yeah,
Right.
It's more to it
Right.
than just the financial aspect of it, and a lot of people are getting into it for the same reason that we talk about certain rappers that get into the rap game just to get that viral hit.
Yeah.
People are doing the exact same thing as far as podcasting is concerned, because that's the thing to do right now. It's like, let's do a podcast. I remember at one point in time, nobody was talking about doing podcasts. And then as the years went on, I see so many people get online. Maybe I should do a podcast. Should I do a podcast? I've seen that so many times on Facebook, people asking,
True.
should I do a
Should
podcast?
I do a podcast? Yeah.
No,
The people shouldn't tell you if you should do a podcast.
you
It
gotta
should
ask.
already
Say
be in
no.
you.
Yeah, no,
No,
he's
the answer
he's
is no.
very right. No, you shouldn't do it.
It's almost like you're gauging how many people are going to pay attention to you when you do that.
yeah,
And those people that told you to do it aren't going to pay attention to you when you do it.
yeah, that comes
And then
with
you're
experience.
You're gonna get into it, and you're gonna realize that this is actually
lot of
more
work.
work and time than I anticipated. And I'm not really in it for the love, like you say. We enjoy doing it. This is a therapy session for
Yeah.
me every week. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So it doesn't bother me. It doesn't tick me off. It doesn't deter me from doing a podcast, because I'm not in it for the reason that a lot of people trying to get in the game are.
And plus, a lot of you just are not that interesting, and you don't have much to say. You really aren't. I know that sounds very arrogant and mean coming from a
It's
certain
accurate, though.
perspective.
It's accurate.
But you know, you'll get 3 or 4 episodes in, and then you'll realize that about yourself. Just because people, you know, enjoy your conversation personally does not mean it should go out onto, you know, the digital atmosphere for people to consume,
But
especially when you're talking about people who don't know you. And like, that's the thing. Most of the people who consume our content are people who do not know us. You know,
Which is
we've-
why it's such an uphill battle.
yeah, so like, you know, if you
True.
are depending on your friends and family to listen and watch your content, you are going to be heartbroken.
You know, when you say friends and family, that's actually a good point.
My mom
because-
just now started watching the show.
Shout out to moms. It's funny when you say the friends and family piece, because you'll talk to family members and they think the conversations that we're having just in their house or at the kitchen table, or you just stop by and see your auntie or whatever. Man, I could do that on y'all show. No, you couldn't.
No.
It doesn't translate like they think it does. It doesn't. It's not going to sound. It's not going to be like it is now when we're just talking in the kitchen. It's not going to go that way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's
And-
like people who think they could be comedians just because people think they're funny.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like you're funny to people who know you in sitting around at a table, getting drunk, eating. And that doesn't translate to you getting on stage and telling stories for an hour.
This translates fully over to the creative process and everything.
Yeah. Even to the very beginning of the conversation, is the new hustle even more than rap? People think they can rap. Everybody thinks they can rap. You know what I'm saying? The people that don't think they can rap, well, I know how to talk, so I should do a podcast.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Everybody's trying to do, it always comes down to capitalism.
Yeah.
But everybody is trying to look for a way to make the most money with the least amount of effort.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a bar.
As quickly as possible.
That's a bar. It's just like, if I can make some raps real quick and it can pop off and then the song doesn't pop, it's like, well, I guess I'm not going to be a rapper now. It's like, good, go away. You know, it's like, it's the same thing with podcasting. You know, you buy a mic, you buy an interface, you don't know how to plug the interface in. You know, it's like, and then, you know, you talk a little bit, nobody listens, and then you go and you do the next thing. It's like, why don't you just do the thing for a couple years
and see if you're going to get good or not? Time will tell.
Yeah. But we sucked in the beginning.
Terrible.
We did 8 full episodes and we still did a brand new episode. And if you go, I
don't even want to watch them. I'm scared to watch them.
I have embarrassment. I haven't even watched it because I don't want to.
I don't want to watch them. I don't want to watch them.
Don't go.
They weren't as bad as you think. I listened to every episode before I came.
Man, I don't know.
Now compared to what we do now,
it's way different.
But them first out the gate,
the first one's very, very.
Those are very uncomfortable.
They're very NPR-ish.
Yeah,
they were like,
I have
so what do you guys think about
as
the
far as
rap
watching
music?
myself? You know what I'm saying? It's almost like actors who do movies, acting movies, and never watch them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So the segment that I watched that I reacted to was from 2019. Sitting in my old room, us around a table, Jay Moore at the head of it, me, Mike, Terry, and so it was back then. It was like only 3 years-ish into it.
Yeah.
And even as I'm like reacting to the conversational piece, I'm also pointing out like, oh, that's funny because Mike's got a couple cards. You know, you got the little note cards.
The note card.
It's like, here's some general ideas to talk about. Like we used to.
I forgot about that.
We were just like, yeah, okay. What are we going to talk about tonight? Now we're like organized plans, spreadsheets, thinking about topics, thumbnails,
automated
algorithms, all this other stuff. But back then it was just kind of like, what are we going to talk about today?
Bro, you know what's crazy? It's funny you said that. I forgot about the note cards.
I still have them somewhere.
Bruh.
He thought he was Johnny Carson.
I did. I was, you know how they be slide. I did. I thought I was looking special.
You were looking special.
You had to do me like
I'm
that.
just saying, man.
Hey, I was so nervous in the recliner for the first episode because I'm like,
had the most comfortable seat in the house.
I did.
Yeah.
It was the first time I had sat down and we had the table in the room and everybody was looking at me to be like, okay, are we ready to start?
Go
and I'm
time.
like, oh my God, I have to try to direct this thing.
Yeah.
I was so nervous, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all don't go back that far.
Yeah.
No, it's hard directing shows when you're not here even.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's crazy. But you know what though? You live and you learn.
No, because like, what was it a couple episodes ago? And
The
we
music
started the
started
music and it was
playing.
like, oh yeah, Mike's not here.
Straight up.
Nah, man. Sometimes you gotta watch old game film. I might have the balls to watch some of those down the road, but not now, man. I ain't ready yet, man. Because
I don't know if I'm gonna go back that far.
Yeah.
But
Drake is a pop star. Episode number 1.
Yeah, number 1.
All right, man. So I guess
No, we've cut so much out because we just realized it didn't serve us. Like that's also a thing. They have to have a certain level of awareness. Like we used to go around the table. It's like, hey, what do you guys got going on? And then we realized, you know, locally as far as the events that we had, but then we realized nobody from Indiana listens to us.
Our audience is not going to do anything that we got going on because they're not here.
I'll never forget. Lone pulled me to the side after. He probably won't remember this. He pulled me to the side after the episode. He was like, yeah, so nobody cares about what goes on around here. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, think about it. Like, they're not going to care. They don't know about coaches. They don't care about any of this stuff. I'm like, he's right.
Mm-hmm.
They don't live here.
somebody from the Netherlands like, okay, well,
maybe I'll go to coaches.
I'll put that on my list if I'm ever in Indianapolis, Indiana on a Tuesday evening.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, Long will get right to the point. He was like, yeah, they don't care about anything around here. And I was like, he's right.
Well, that's when we had to actually recognize who our audience was.
That part.
Because I think a lot of people, even people that are actually coming into podcasting, this isn't to deter anybody, but your core audience is not going to be the people that you expect it to be.
And you have to cater to that.
Yeah.
True. And that's an ever moving challenge with us too, is like catering our topics to who wants to listen to us talk about it. Like even like when we wanted to talk about the Pacers a couple weeks ago, segment didn't do anything
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
because that's not what.
Imagine if we had a lot of home support. It probably would have done a lot of numbers. But I remember Lone pulled a graph, a pie chart, in Indianapolis, Indiana, that area, it was like 2%. 1.5%.
I
Something
think
like
it was
that.
more than that.
Was it more than that?
Yeah.
It wasn't the majority.
Chicago had a
that.
huge chunk. I remember seeing that. Chicago was
I
big.
I think gradually nowadays, I think we have a larger percentage from Indianapolis, but collectively it's still only like 10%.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's
Right.
like,
But we speak to national and international issues, so
That's true.
At the end of the day, that's the goal.
Yeah,
True,
the goal is
true.
not to just have your home stand up for you.
no, we just repping the home.
Yeah, always.
You know the vibes.
Nah, man. But either way, we appreciate the support no matter where it comes
But I
from.
will say
on the pie
one
chart.
last caveat about this. If
Uh-huh.
you're an artist, if you are a creative podcaster, you have this idea, you want to do something,
Yeah.
don't let any of this shit deter you.
Nah.
Facts.
Just commit. Like commit to the grind of it.
Commit to learning.
Commit to learning. Commit to a specific allocated amount of time. Like you say you want to be a podcaster, cool. Commit 2 years to it.
no matter if you fail or not, it's
Learn all the stuff.
exactly.
And then when you get to that 2 years, then be like, all right, you can make adjustments along the way, but like commit to it. And that's the thing that nobody wants to do anymore.
Yeah.
It's like hard work still, I don't believe in meritocracy. The idea that just because you work hard, you get stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't accomplish anything without it, without the hard work.
The hard work has to be in there.
So it's
Facts.
like it's an integral part, but it's not going to necessarily give you anything. So like still work hard at the stuff and try it and, get a good team around you. Anyways.
that part.